Hey, 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 welcome to Common Spurs TV where we talk about everything Spurs. Today we have something really special for you. We are doing this recording from here in England as well as having somebody out there in Australia covering the Women's World Cup for us live from the Brisbane Roar Stadium in Brisbane. We've got Ben and we're going to have Chuma as well. In the meantime, come on, ye Spurs. Right, welcome back to Common Spurs TV. We'll talk about everything Spurs. Today I have Chuma on the line. I also have Ben from Brisbane, Australia, live from Australia. Ben, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm really well, mate. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Tell us a little bit of, before you do that, let's just speak to Chuma. Chuma, how are you?
Oh, I'm super good. I'm really excited to see Ben at the stadium as well. Like it's all kicking off right now.
I know, right? This is really, really interesting and amazing. Thank you, Ben, for joining us. Pardon the noise. This is live, and yeah, so plenty of noise in the background. So, pardon that. How are you, Ben?
Yeah, I'm really well. Look, it's a chilly winter's evening here in Brisbane. Chilly
Okay.
for us Queenslanders, I suppose. Probably warm for yourselves at 17 degrees. I'm standing outside the Lord Alfred Hotel. I thought it'd be a fitting place to start because that's where the Celtic fans gather at obscene hours of the night to support their team.
Right.
Yeah, I've been coming here on and off for the past couple of years while Ange's been managing the team. So lots of Postecoglou admirers in this neck of the woods.
Right,
I'm
okay.
about to walk. I'm about to walk down. I'm about to walk down Caxton Street. It's sort of the traditional spot to have a few cold ones before the game. So there's sort of pubs either side. So I thought we'd sort of walk down there towards the stadium. There's a fair few, yeah, as you can see by all the red and white balloons.
We don't like red here.
Everywhere. Well, the red and white. The red and white is actually to represent England, who are playing tonight against Haiti here at Suncorp Stadium. So Suncorp Stadium, you know, I guess for followers of Ange Postecoglou, this is where he sort of took over the Brisbane Roar team in 2011, 2012, and took a team that wasn't doing particularly well and hadn't won any trophies and took them to consecutive championships. I guess for myself, a lifelong Australian football fan, you know, the opportunity to watch, you know, fast-flowing, aggressive, attacking football here on my doorstep was, I guess, a lifelong sort of dream come true. So here we are.
Amazing.
There's plenty of fans, as you can see. Here we go. You like this T-shirt?
Ben? What's the capacity? What's the capacity of the stadium at Brisbane? How many people does it hold?
I think it's 60 something. So normally it packs out, you know, for the other codes, rugby league with the Brisbane Broncos and the state of origin. So it'll pack out sort of every other weekend for those sports, but sort of for our code for football, it's, you know, let's just say the crowds have been disappointing. The last couple of years, in fact, the Brisbane Roar have moved to another smaller stadium in the north called Redcliffe Stadium, just to, I guess, squeeze the smaller crowds closer together and provide that atmosphere. I guess that's also reflective of the results and the style of football that was being played, sort of post Postecoglou era. But happy to say this upcoming season, the Roar are moving back to Suncorp, and the new coach Ross Aloisi. I guess we'll see how he goes, but I think the team needs another Postecoglou style revolution to sort of get us back to the top of the table. It's pretty much been dominated by Sydney and Melbourne teams of late.
Nice.
I've got the director here who keeps telling me to point the camera here and camera there.
It's nice to see. Yeah, it's nice to see people. I can hear the drums as well.
It's an hour and a quarter before kickoff. And there's quite a lot of people here making their way to the stadium. So I did have a look on the FIFA website last night, and there were still some tickets for sale. But I say it's probably unlikely to get some out the gate. There seems to be quite a lot of people here, mostly dominated by England fans.
As expected.
Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Haitians yet, but we'll keep our eyes out.
Ben, very quickly. So, I mean, England can you hear me, Ben?
Yeah, look, it's dropping in and out a little bit, but for the most part, I can hear you.
Right. So I'm saying that England are playing Haiti, their opening match in Group D of the Women's World Cup, right, at the Brisbane Roar Brisbane Stadium, right? And
that's
Brisbane,
right.
like you said, is where Postecoglou used to coach Brisbane Roars, right?
Exactly.
Right. England connection and Tottenham for the women's team. Who have we got? Do you know? Or
I've got no idea.
Yeah, we have. So there's one. Yeah, there's only one player. We've got the England forward, Beth England. So Beth England is the Tottenham connection to the England
You think she'll make the starting lineup?
That's the thing. We don't know if she. I don't know if she's going to make the starting lineup. But she usually starts for England. But we don't know. But we're hoping. We're hoping to have a Tottenham player on the pitch, at least gracing the field where Ange used to coach. So that would be nice. That would be nice for Tottenham and a Tottenham perspective.
So Beth England, how many caps does she have? Do you know? I think she has. I think about 11 caps. I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so we're hoping that she starts today or be part of it. Now, England, I mean, obviously, the Women's World Cup is comes up every reigning champions are the United States, aren't they? And what are England's chances?
Yeah, and the United States played yesterday, I think yesterday or early this morning, whichever way you look at it for our time, and they won 3-0. They were looking quite good as well. So Haiti is an unexpected, unexpected kind of appearance, kind of thing, because I don't know how advanced the game is in Haiti. I hope they give a great performance, but also I think the thing Ben should watch out for is the Haitian goalkeeper is supposed to be like 5'4". She's supposed to be quite small, but she jumps really, really high. So like she's supposed to be something to watch out for, because everyone thinks that because of her height that she's quite limited. But they say she's very, very agile and very flexible. So we look forward to seeing that. But I think she's the smallest keeper in the tournament.
That is very short for a keeper.
Let's see what happens. So everyone's thinking it's either going to be an all-out England massacre, or because Haiti aren't really that advanced and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I hope for a competitive game, because it's really sad sometimes when you see the smaller nations just get taken apart sometimes. But everyone's rooting for England. Well, over here anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, I know where I'd put my 10 up too.
It's not rocket science, as I say, right? Right. Brisbane Roars. I mean, how did Poch and how did Postecoglou
And
do with them while he was with them?
Yeah, look, what he did at Brisbane Roar was amazing. You know, as I touched on earlier, you know, the club was not doing particularly well. You know, pretty secluded, I guess, from the southern states in Melbourne that sort of traditionally are the sort of football powerhouses in this country. The club had never won a trophy. And then, you know, long story short, the coach, Frank Farina, he was sacked. He was caught drink driving on his way to training. So they needed to find a quick replacement real quickly. So just so happened that Ange was available and willing. So he made the move up from Melbourne. He did what he's known to do, and that's, you know, do a mass clear out of the squad. Which included some big names for this part of the world. A couple of names that you might recognise. One is Craig Moore, who I played against. Yeah, I played against him a few times myself as a youngster before he sort of made the move to Scotland and played for Rangers in Newcastle. Another guy, Danny Tiato, who also played in the Premier League. So these guys these were guys that weren't really, I guess, welcoming to what Ange was trying to do. And Ange does what Ange does. You know, if you're not along the ride, you're quickly cast aside. So he moved them out, and he did what he did. Look, this is one of the strengths of Ange. The A-League is a salary cap league, right? So that means it's an equalised competition. You don't sort of have a couple of clubs that, you know, the PSGs or the Man Cities that because of their financial strength, that they can just go out and buy the top players and, you know, and then, you know, any sort of sensible sort of fan of the game would understand that will lead to results ultimately. But here in the A-League, everyone's got the same budget. So it really comes down to coaching and recruitment, and you know that's one of Ange's biggest strengths. His creative recruiting, his ability to spot a player, you know, that fits his system, and I guess to get them for a good price. So he found this bloke in Germany by the name of Thomas Deutsch. You may or may not know the name. He was a German youth international. And he was hating life at the time in the Bundesliga. You know, to quote him, he'd fallen out of love with the game. So I don't know how Ange found out about him or how he made that happen, but he flew over to Germany. He got the deal done. And Thomas Deutsch, you know, that guy lit up the league. He was arguably, some people today would still argue that he's the best player that the A-League has ever seen. He was a star. And Ange also got hold of a guy called Beshar Berisha, a really sort of fiery Albanian. Sort of very controversial character for oppositions. Just because of his, I guess, his fiery hot temper, there was sort of a lot of, you know, let's go to the tunnel and fight sort of moments.
The Robbie Savage type person, eh?
and if it wasn't with the opposition, it was with his own teammates. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But he had that desire. He had that desire to win, and look, him and Broad slipped up on many occasions. You know, and I guess we're the two main guys that led us to the championships. But there are a bunch of other guys, you know, a young guy called Mitch Nichols, you know, really talented up and coming young Socceroo, and he was sort of playing in the attacking midfield area, and I would say that his time at the Roar was probably sort of the highlight of his career. So after a sort of a bit of a shaky start, they went on this winning run of 36 games. Which I understand is not only a record in football, but a record in all sports in Australia. You know, which is saying something because we've got a lot of other sports here, right? So, yeah, to go on that winning run and win 2 championships, to dominate a league, you know, that's operating under a salary cap in an equalised sort of competition, you know, was remarkable.
Absolutely. I mean,
So I've got a quick question for Ben. So, like you said, it did take him a while though. This wasn't like an immediate thing. Like it took him a while because I'm trying to think. Even moving people like Tiato and the rest of them out the squad, it must have taken him like I think the first season. I think he was between 1 and 12th, or he was 12th or 11th or something like that. I'm not sure if he was in the top 4, top 5. I think he was less than that.
Yeah, they really struggled at the start. I think that look, I could be wrong, but I think that they were sort of maybe second last in the table at some stage in his tenure. But, I don't think it's fair to really compare sort of the Ange of then to the Ange of now. That was, as I said, sort of sent you a message by email, Soji, Ange in his first press conference, I thought he looked really confident, really composed. I think, there were signs of nervousness in his early press conferences at Celtic, I thought, in my opinion. But his arrival at Spurs, he's really sort of commanded that press stage. And I think Ange always seeks to improve himself. As he demands from his players and his staff, there's continual improvement. So I think, Ange is peaking in his management career. And I think Spurs is going to get the best Ange.
Wow. Nice. That's great to hear. That's awesome. So you're on mute, Sod.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that overview, Ben. I said, have you got any English fans cheering England on next to you that we could speak to?
Well, there's lots of Kane shirts around.
Oh wow, okay. Do you want to have a quick one?
Harry Kane, hey, the Harry Kane man.
Yeah, I could definitely try if I can get through this crowd of people here.
Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Okay.
Oh, there's lots of England flags here. Hey, bro. I'm actually live with a podcast called Come On You Spurs TV. Wondering if you wanted to... you're not a Spurs fan.
He's wearing a Harry Kane shirt. He's wearing a Kane shirt.
We're a fan of England and we love England's crown. He needs to start. Okay, so Kane, Daniel Levy, what you need to do is talk to Huddersfield Town and see if you can make a deal somehow and sign Kane. Huddersfield Town, Harry Kane, the first team to ever win the championship 3 times in a row.
3 times, very true, very true.
Thank you.
Very true. Huddersfield Town, very true.
Yeah, I think the cloud of Harry Kane needs to be lifted ASAP. It's becoming a bit of a problem. Ange will certainly be eyeing up a replacement.
For us, do you think if Harry Kane moved on, it would, because the way he spoke to Maddison, and said to him, if you arrive or if you don't arrive at my club, Spurs will still do great things. Do you think the same thing applies to him and Harry Kane? If Harry Kane moves on or Harry Kane stays, Ange doesn't really, he's not one man dependent in terms of how he conducts his coaching.
Absolutely. Like all of this speculation around Harry Kane at the moment is an obstacle. It's becoming a problem. We're only 3 weeks out from the kickoff of the Premier League. Ange needs to be putting his starting 11 together. I think if Kane stays, he'll build a team around him. But if he goes, he'll bring in strikers that are more suited to the Ange ball style. So they'll be quick, strong, athletic, big engines willing to run and chase and press. At the game against West Ham, okay, Harry's only been back sort of in pre-season for 1 week. So there's probably a bit of a fatigue element, but, he pressed a little bit, but I don't think it really suits him. So that's the big question mark for me in the Spurs team. Sort of who's going to be the Kyogo in the Spurs team? Who's going to be doing that pressing from the front, pressing defenders, putting them under pressure, that sort of thing. I think Ange will already have his eye on the strikers that sort of fit his profile. So that's why I think sort of Ange has come out sort of recently and said, look, you know, it's starting to be a problem. A decision needs to be made. And I think for Harry Kane, I think he has a responsibility too for the club. Even if he moves on, I think he has a responsibility to do the right thing by the club. So if his intention is to go, I think he needs to go and give us some time to bring in some replacements and get them ready for the game against Brentford.
Nice. That's fair. Yeah. Do you think you just alluded to the fact that Ange would have his certain requirements for strikers, right? Do you think Ange has like a list of players that he already has that possibly he would present to the club as well and say, listen, I've got these guys. These are guys that I think would fit somehow what he did with the German player, bringing the player from the Bundesliga over to the A-League. He probably has a list, and I think
Yeah.
Kyogo is on that list as well. I don't know why. I think I wish felt in my mind that he would go and get Kyogo. If any player, I think he really liked Kyogo the most.
Yeah, look, without a doubt. I mean, Ange, when he was at Yokohama, was part of the City Group, right? The City Group are well known to have arguably the best network, you know, scouting network in the world. He will already know what players are out there in the world that sort of fit his system. He would have been straight onto it the moment Daniel Levy gave him a call. You know, he's very unforgiving. He won't delay. Look, if he thinks that there's a question mark around a player, he'll move. He won't charge into the league blind. You know, there was a couple of players just before the World Cup where there was, for Celtic, where there was a couple of question marks. There was Juranovic, who was sort of being chased by a couple of clubs, and he was sort of open to offers, I guess. He went off. Yeah, he moved off, had a blinder at the World Cup. Croatia came, I think, third, and he had an awesome tournament. When he came back to Celtic, he'd already been replaced. Same with Giorgio Giamarcus. He was, you know, obviously I'm not inside the walls there, and I don't know what the conversations are. But you know, Kyogo was starting ahead of Giamarcus, right? And Giamarcus, in my opinion, is a great striker, and I think he deserves to be starting. But unfortunately for him, he just didn't have the pressing and the defending capabilities that Kyogo had. So that meant that he was, you know, he was coming on off the bench. So there was, I think his agent sort of hit Celtic up, you know, about contract wages, his role in the club. Next thing you know, O from Korea is there, and see you later, see you, Marcus. And in the words of Ange, you know, it's no longer on my radar. You know, he doesn't waste any brain space thinking about it once he's made a decision. Yeah, he's very ruthless like that.
Wow, that's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah, so Harry Kane's the big one. Harry Kane needs to make a decision, because if he, you know, stuffs around too long, Ange will replace him. Doesn't matter. You know, if he's not 100% on the ride, Ange will replace him. But if he stays, I think Ange will build the team around him. I think given what I was saying before about pressing, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a little bit deeper. You know, Ange only played with two strikers a handful of times with Celtic, and usually that's when the team was trailing and we needed to sort of bring some more attacking weapons on and push. But he does have that in his arsenal, you know, whether it's a false nine or whatever that looks like. But I wouldn't be surprised if the wingers maybe a little bit more inverted. You know, someone like Richarlison, you know, is deployed in front of him to do all the running. I'm not sure. But I see him and Maddison sort of linking up a lot, sort of in those attacking areas, creating spaces in the pockets, getting the ball out wide, that sort of thing. But yeah, you better make his mind up, because I don't think Ange will.
How much
risk going
do
into
you
the
think
season.
the centre back issue would bother him as well? Because it was the first time he came out in a press conference and Ange said, you know, we are working on getting centre back. So I think, do you think he's looked at the West Ham game and said, right, these guys aren't really 100% suited to me. I'm coaching them. I'm okay with them, but I want my own guys.
Oh, crucial, absolutely crucial. That's got to be the priority. Those two centre back positions. Under Celtic they play with a high line and they're defending 1-on-1. So you really need to have defenders that are strong in the air with pace. Which is why Tapsoba and Van der Ven have been sort of identified, because they possess all of those attributes for a Celtic sort of back two. They're also good sort of playing with their feet. Ange came out, he took the blame for the goals that were conceded, because that's what Ange does, he protects his team. He won't criticise his players to the media, and whenever something doesn't go to plan, he will take the blame for the team. So he won't come out and say Romero or Tanganga or whoever had a poor game. He'll never say that. But sort of from what I saw the other night, yeah, these guys are not suited to the system. So getting those two centre backs in is crucial for the season, and it's got to happen ASAP, because they're essentially the quarterbacks. They're required to be ball playing. If you look at the stats of Celtic last season, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Carl Stahlfeld had the two centre backs. They had the most passes
Had the
of
most
the whole
passes,
squad by a million miles. So they're crucial. Without those two cogs in the wheel, the system's not going to work. So there's no doubt Ange is kicking down Levy's door saying, we're going to turf Lo Celso, we're going to turf Holberg. There's dollars coming in, or pounds or euros coming in. We need to fill those spots at the back. Absolutely.
Also with the
go ahead.
way I saw something on Twitter. There's a guy called Harry Brooks, he's a coach and he's a Spurs fan on the side, and he was saying how a lot of Spurs fans were like really demanding the centre backs come in now, because they say, oh, it's going to take a long time to integrate. And he says no. That if you watch Ange's sessions and if you look at what Ange has done, it literally took him 10 days to get them playing his way. So it takes sessions. It's not going to take like months. People think it's going to take a lot of months for Ange to integrate centre backs. That's why those Spurs need to move quickly. They don't need to. It's not because Ange, it will take a long time for Ange to integrate them into his way. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. Ange, there's levels to Ange ball, right? So what he'll be working on with the squad now are the key principles. So the key principles are, imposing ourselves on the game, winning the ball back as soon as possible when you're losing it, controlling possession, and defending compactly. Sort of from there's the patterns of play, which it's a building process. You hear Ange use the word, I'm a builder, or I'm building, over and over again, because it's a process. First, you've got to build the foundation. You got to build the structure, and then you start fine-tuning. He will utilise the strengths, obviously, of the individual players. For example, as Celtic left back Taylor, he used to be a central midfielder, so he was very comfortable coming inside in that inverted fullback position, where Alistair Johnson on the right side was a bigger threat, sort of charging down the wings and getting into crossing positions. So he brought Taylor in to add those numbers in midfield, where he sort of allowed Alistair to sort of get more forward into crossing and goal scoring positions.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you said you talked about Taylor, because there's a player for Spurs, Harvey White, and Harvey White has played as a defensive midfielder and central midfielder all his life, but he's very left-footed, and during previous pre-seasons he's filled in at left back when we've had injuries. So there was a video that was circulating where Ange put Harvey White in the back four, I was thinking is exactly the same thing as what he did with Taylor. Harvey White is the central midfield player or defensive midfield player, so he's now inverting inside. It's so easy for him to do. So I think we're probably going to see that in the Leicester game as well. I think Harvey White's going to get a run out at the left back and then invert inside. So that's very interesting you said that with Taylor, and it's really the hallmark of Ange Ball.
Yeah, look, Ange likes players that are versatile, that can play different positions for that reason, you know. The game against West Ham, I think what we saw was a first draft of the first team and the second team. I think in the Leicester game, given that we've got, 3 friendlies before the kickoff of the season, I think we're going to probably see the starting 11 that he has in mind. As far as the fullback positions, I think Udogie, even though he's young, I think he really performed well, not just with the goal and with his run up the left, but with his positional play. There was a sequence there on the left-hand side, I think it might have been with Perisic, where he made that run forward in the inverted position. There was a couple of sort of first-time touches, and then there was nothing on. So then he made the run back also in an inverted position, got the ball back again, and kept the ball and started the attack again. That's exactly what Ange is looking for from his fullbacks. To get forward, add numbers, provide another attacking threat, and look, getting on the score sheet isn't going to do his chances any harm.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It seemed Spurs were just in that game. We were just choking West Ham. It got to that point. Even when we were 2-0 down, you could just see the numbers. It was like the sheer numbers in West Ham's half was unbelievable. A lot of fans were so happy seeing that. But you could see Ange's face, like, no, we need to do more work. We should have converted more chances and everything else. And I think that's what we really loved about that game. Was at the end of the game, he still wanted the win in a preseason, even though everyone goes on about how preseason is about fitness and getting. He wanted that win as well, and that was a very interesting thing to see.
Yeah, look, he'll say that because if he gets the result, the fans are going to be happier. But truthfully, for him, it's all about the system and the players performing their roles within that system. For him, the result isn't going to matter. There were plenty of chances. There's plenty of possession. The early signs are good, but it was early days. There were just a few moments. The other moment was when we were sort of pinned in at right back, and I think it was Emerson Royale and Davies,
Sanchez,
yeah. Sanchez. But they played out under pressure. They got the ball into midfield, and quick counter attack created an attacking opportunity. Now that's handball. That was the one moment that stood out, and he's definitely going to sort of play that back to the team and say, look, this is what we're going to be trying to do. So I think those guys also, might get a start tomorrow night, just because they're following the gaffer's instructions and they're performing their roles within the system. If there are mistakes made, it's fine. Ange will take responsibility for those, as long as the players are doing what he's asked them to do.
So you go ahead. Sorry, I know you've been waiting.
No, sorry, not a problem. You saw what's it was Mana Solomon and Regulon doing the same thing in the first half as well. Same thing like Udogie and Perisic were doing in the second half. And you saw that huge run from the back from Udogie, where he got to almost to the byline at the end of the attack. So yeah, I mean, Ange Ball definitely has a lot of moments for us to look forward to in the coming season. Let's just go back a little bit to Harry Kane. Remember we said that, look, when there's everyone saying Kane make a choice or make a decision, right? At the same time, you also have the Levy side of things, whereby he's thinking, okay, do I sell him now and make the money? Whatever the money looks like. I mean, some people are saying something about 60 to 70 million pounds, right? Or hold on to him, and then hopefully he gets us into a Champions League position for next season, right? the revenue we get from Champions League will be equivalent to whatever we get from selling him now. So it's a win-win in however you cut it. In terms of the what's the word, revenue from those matches. So it's a bit difficult for everyone concerned. I mean, on one hand, I mean, there's uncertainty around the team whereby, I mean, okay, he may not necessarily have expressed a lot of frustration, but if you listen to his last press conference, you could sense a little bit when he says, look, we need to get this thing resolved as soon as possible, because obviously he wouldn't want to admit that he disrupts his planning, but it will disrupt his planning because he wouldn't know either way what to do. But I mean, of course, the establishment thing to say is, oh yeah, we'll do with or without any individual. Yeah. So that's something that.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit there, Soji, but I guess what I would say about Harry Kane is, if he stays, there's no doubt he'll be the captain, right? And Ange is a delegator. He would have spoken to Harry Kane and said, all right, I'm going to give you a lot of responsibility. Now, Ange is famously known for leaving the dressing room to the players, right? So Callum McGregor was basically the king of the dressing room for Celtic. If Harry Kane was to stay, I have no doubt he will be captain. He will be given extra responsibility in the team as a leader, and the dressing room will be his. Ange won't step into what he calls, the players' domain. So I think, for Harry, look, I couldn't tell you how things sort of operated, behind the scenes under the last two managers, sort of what that looked like. But Harry will have a big say in what goes on culturally, tactically, you name it, with this team. I think you can offer him. 350 mil or whatever the number is, 350,000 a week or whatever the same number is. I don't think he needs the money, right? I think he's on record talking about a change of culture is required at the club. So that's what Ange will bring, and Harry Kane will be given lots of responsibility and lots of power to make that happen.
Okay, Ben, okay, so I watched something where Ange says he doesn't place limits on his players, so he doesn't set out to win, let's say, win the League Cup or the FA Cup, because he feels that the players would use that as the only incentive, and then once they achieve that, they drop off. So he doesn't place any limits.
That's
He
right.
doesn't say, I'm going to make top four. So do you think it's reasonable this season that with Tottenham not playing any European football, that Ange could actually be going for one of the cups, even though he wouldn't set it as a bar? He literally looks at this, and this could be a good opportunity to get one of those cups. And being that trophies are what everyone's saying Harry Kane wants to leave for, that could be another reason for Harry Kane to stay, is the fact that, and if you look at Pep Guardiola, I'm not comparing Ange to him, but Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho, all these other managers, they've always used the League Cup, which comes first, as sort of like the bedding ground to show their teams that, look, we are able to win. So do you think he would sort of, in the back of his mind, he'll probably still have that as, I could get one of the domestic cups this season, or I could aim for it?
Yeah, well, there's no secret Spurs needs to win something, right? When Ange took over at Celtic, we all know it was a disaster. He was preparing for Champions League with kids. He didn't have players. It was like 12 plays in, 12 plays out in the first window. And it was pretty chaotic at the start because he was essentially throwing players onto the pitch straight from the airport. It's like, welcome to Glasgow, here's your boots, warm up. You're on in 5 minutes, you know what I mean? But, winning the fans over is key. And if he can win a trophy, it's going to make the fans happy, and that's going to be a good start, in my opinion. Aren't we playing Barcelona in some kind of mini cup?
Yes,
coming up shortly?
the Gamper trophy. Yeah.
Look, I'll put my money on Ange to lift that trophy.
Wow.
Yeah, but look, truthfully, what I think the goal will be to qualify for Europe. So that'll probably be what Daniel Levy's set for him. Assemble a squad with this limited budget, qualify for Europe. Then with those extra funds, as you were sort of touching on there earlier, Soji, with those extra funds, we'll strengthen the squad. With depth is so important when you're playing in 3 or 4 competitions, right? Particularly in a really high-pressing style that Ange plays. The injuries happen, right? So depth is key. So I think that'll be the first step of the building process. I think we need to be realistic. He's not going to take down Guardiola and the like in the first season. But I think, as I said, the goal will be to qualify for Europe.
So who knows? Who knows? He might just do it.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, he'll go for the throat. He won't take a step back. He will go for the jugular. And what will be. But then I think, if he qualifies for Europe, then he's going to strengthen the squad and then try and make things happen in Europe after that. I think it'll take a few seasons, quite a few windows. A lot of the players we're going to sort of start the season with off are not going to be the players that we'll sort of see sort of next year. It'll be a building process.
Yeah. Do you think Ange has a bit of a chip on his shoulder regarding Europe? Because I think that was his only criticism while he was at Celtic, and that was the reason Celtic fans thought he would stay, would be to more or less prove people wrong. Because I watched the Champions League games last season, and they were really good. I just felt they didn't have the quality to hurt the teams, and the players were good, but they weren't on that European stage level good. They were good enough for Scotland. And I think somewhere along the line, I looked at it as Ange had the weapons, especially the Madrid game gets talked about a lot. They could have been 5-0 up after 60 minutes if they had elite players. So do you think somewhere in the back of his mind, he has that as a chip on his shoulder that he has to do well in Europe at some point? I think somewhere he has to go in to show continentally as well that he's that good.
Yeah, look, I think Ange has a chip on his shoulder in general, just being an Aussie and not being recognised in the football world because of his passport. As far as the Champions League goes, I don't think so. I think what that was an opportunity for him to measure his style against the very best. It was a measuring stick. He would have taken a lot away from that experience. And he would have, had he stayed with Celtic, he would have come back stronger this year. He brought in players to sort of add depth in the areas that he felt that he needed to strengthen. We were potentially, when I say we, I'm saying we as in Celtic, we were looking at potentially, instead of going into the Champions League with 2 attacking midfielders, we were potentially going to go in with 2 number 6s, and I think that's where Timoka Iwata sort of came in. We sort of brought in, and you saw it right towards the end of the season there, where him and Cal Mack, they were interchanging sort of from right attacking mid and the number 6 position. So, Ange Ball is very fluid. If you're looking at it in terms of formation, you're restricting, I guess, your understanding of what's happening out there. It's okay. They'll line up a kickoff in a 4-3-3, but what happens on the pitch, it's very fluid. There's lots of interchanging. You can't sort of put a simple label on it like that.
Yeah, because we saw in the West Ham game, we saw Bissouma like really moving forward, and Bissouma started as a 6, but Bissouma went in very, very close to the D every single time, and I was like, wow, this is a very fluid 6. But you could see that Andrew was supporting it, and then in the second half, Højbjerg came on, and Højbjerg was more. He sat back a bit more. It wasn't his style to move forward. So it was like, is there a particular pattern for his 6 or not? And I don't think he restricts that.
Well, firstly, if you go back a few videos for you guys and you look in the comments, you'll see me tip Bissouma to have a breakout season and stamp step his claim on that number 6 position. Look, as I said before, Ange will utilise the attributes of the player. At Celtic, Cal Mack was essentially a quarterback at number 6, sort of pinging the ball up towards the wingers and so on. I think the attributes of Bissouma, he's really tidy with his feet. We saw a couple of little nice exchanges on the edge of the box there, a couple of little 1-2s. He got himself into a nice attacking position. So Ange will certainly give him the freedom to do that, and he will support that positive play. So, yeah, the restrictions that you might apply to certain positions like a number 6, yeah, you can throw them out the window with Ange. You know, he'll use the strength of the player.
Thank you so much, Ben. It's been, superb having you. You know, I love your insights on Ange and the little brief tour of the stadium. Do you want to show us around and see? Let our viewers see what's going on behind you and around you.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can go find the FIFA logo. I think they had to cover up all of the other branding and they whacked FIFA on top of it. Let me see. All right, anyway, I'm walking to the gates. Here's all the shirts in the background. Here's all the fans assembling, I guess. And this is...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Here we go. I can see the sign over there, so I'll just head over. Oh, sorry, I just walked in front of someone's photo. I apologise.
That's okay. Wow, looks like the game might be sold
I'm not
out,
sure
right?
if you can see it, but there's the FIFA Women's World Cup banner right on the side of the stadium.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. Thanks for
Yeah, my pleasure. Really great to be with you, and I'm really looking forward, you know, to seeing what Ange can do in the Premier League. I really think that's where he should be, battling it out with the Guardiolas and the Klopps and the the top teams and the top managers in the world. That's where he should be, and give him a couple of years, and I think he'll be mauling opposition.
Awesome.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Any final words before you go, Ben?
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you.
Well done.
On that note,
Thank
come
you.
on, you Spurs. We'll see you guys on the other side. Take good care.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Bye, man.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thank you. Come on, you Spurs.
See ya.